Good morning, everyone. We are here to present our system, Pika, a POS and inventory system. My name is Aliyah Faith Dolietas.
And I'm James Mark S. Marañon.
And I am Paolo Mabanta.
And I am Angelo Sinavaro.
So, let's start! Our motivation in creating this system is that Jane's mother, our head programmer, has encountered problems in her grocery stores. She's having a hard time doing an inventory in her store because her store has more products and she's having a hard time keeping track on each and every one of it. And sometimes she's also not in the store to manage it. So, our group has been inspired to create a system that could help her. And not only to help her, but my family and my other members' family also has their small businesses. So we've been motivated to create a general POS and inventory system that can help many small business owners in operating their businesses. So let's begin.
We will proceed to using Pika. This is an app demonstration of the Pika inventory system. So this is the login screen. Okay, so let's start logging in our Pika inventory system.
Okay, good morning everyone. Our inspiration for our design, since we wanted it to be very user-friendly, that even a kid or an elder can use, we decided to use appealing, comprehensible, and most importantly, legible interface. We made the application so easy that basic knowledge on how to use a computer is enough for the person to be able to use it. For our team, we decided to use yellow and red with a little hint of gray since our mascot Pikachu from the game Pokemon has these colors. In addition, we made the red accent of our team subtle since our professor, Ma'am Fab, commented before that red is not very appealing to her eyes and we all agree with that. Okay, now let's head on to the main menu. It sure looks like it's made for kids, but my belief personally, I'll use an application with a less intimidating yet appealing interface than one with a monotonous and bland design. Okay, we can see here from the menu 6 buttons: cashier, stocks, sales, items, account, and expenses. We used large buttons for easy navigation. Okay, let's go to our cashier frame. We made a lot of difference in our interface before, but retained the logic and functions of the frame. Our cashier frame now looks similar to other major groceries such as Pure Gold point of sale system. Okay, let's try to make a transaction. For example, we put Wilkins. We have 23, so I'm going to buy 3. Add. Okay, I'll order another one. How about Red Horse? 3. Add. So that's all. I'm going to check out now. My money is 500. Okay, the change. Okay, let's click OK. Okay, now so you can notice the change will be displayed in the cashier frame. Keeping in mind that our system is intentionally made for small stores and usually there is only a single clerk, the void button where a manager needs to input a password before removing an item due to a mistake is removed. Okay, now let's continue to our sales report frame. It has 3 main tables: expenses, transactions, and remarks. Expenses records everything that the clerk purchased using the cash tendered from the customers. For example, the clerk suddenly got hungry and a food peddler sold him or her turon or toge, whatever. The clerk's expense, if it's from the cashier money, must be listed. Another example is if there is a sudden need to pay like bills or maintenance fee, and the only money the clerk has is the ones in the cashier drawer. The bottom part of the table displays the total expenses. Okay, so let's try to use this. Let's input the range. For example, January 1 to January 31.
To February.
Okay. To February.
Tapos, fetch.
So let's go to the transaction table. Transaction table lists every item sold during the chosen range. It also computes the gross income and the net income, as you can see below the table. Gross income and net income both are 501 pesos. Okay, now let's go to the remarks table. It's simple. Remarks table displays the remarks made during a transaction. In the lower part of the transactions table, there is a button. So, okay, that's a fetch button. The one with the cloud and an arrow pointing down. It collects data from the frame. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Paul Mabanta explained to us on how does the cashier generally works and the sales report generally works. But if you've noticed, the expenses here is empty because we did not input any expenses in the given range. So let's see an example. So let's see Sir Angelo Navarro in explaining the expenses button. As you've seen earlier, Paolo Mabanta already explained how cashier generally works and also the sales report generally works. So, but if you've noticed, we didn't see any expense record here because we did not put yet any in the given range. So, if you've put let's say February 2020, a year before, then February 28, 2021, and you would see fetch, you can see all the transactions and the expenses made in that given range. So you can see in the table that the table is populated in the expense, in the transaction, and the remarks. So let's proceed on exploring the different functions and buttons of this inventory system with the reporter Angelo Navarro.
Hello. So this time we are now going to discuss stocks and items. One may confuse them with the other. However, they have their distinct differences from the other. First, let us delve into the stocks. The main function of stocks is that it adds a stock to the existing items in the database. And it is also a convenient function for the cashier to view and display the items in the inventory because items is exclusive to the administrator.
Okay.
So that is the main function of the stocks.
For
Let
example,
us see how stocks properly works.
So for example, we want to search because there are so many items in the stocks. We can narrow the search by searching in the search bar. Like if I said pancit canton, it will narrow down to my search bar. And for example, I want only to click here because I've already seen the item for fast adding of stocks. I can only click in the table. Then as you can see, it will be registered in the item code, item name, and current stocks. Now, I want to add stocks in the item code 3017 or mismo, which current stock is 71. But I want to add 5 stocks in this table. So if I add stock, if I want to add stock, I will I will input here in the text field and add stock. As you can see, it will prompt you have successfully added 5 in mismo. And you press OK, and if you notice in the current stock, it already changed in the table. So the difference in our inventory system, it is live. That means if you have changes in the inventory system itself, it refreshes the table.
Thank you, Mr. Maranyan, for navigating through our stock. And I hope our audiences has understood how the stocks function, because now we are going to discuss and delve into the items. As we can see, there is a login user interface in here because, like I said, this is exclusive for the admin. Now, this time, let us discuss what is the difference of items and the stocks first before we will talk about how the stocks function, how the items rather function. So now the difference between stocks and items is that stocks is convenient for the cashier to navigate and display the items from the inventory, as well as they have the capability to add a stock to the items in the inventory. However, items is quite different. Apart from the fact that it is exclusive for the admin, it also allows the admin to add an item to the inventory. So adding an item is different from adding a stock of the item. When we say adding a stock of an item, which means there is already an existing item in the inventory and we are only adding a stock of it. However, in items, adding an item means adding a non-existent item into the database. So that is quite different. The function of items and stock is quite different because in items, it allows the admin to add an item into the inventory. Apart from adding, it also allows the admin to update currently existing items, such as changing price, or name, or description, and many other details about a certain item. Now, that is the function of the items. And I hope that the difference between the items and the stocks have been clear to you. Mr. Maranyan, please navigate through the items.
Okay, this is the item frame. So in the items, we can search, like in the stock, we can search for an item to narrow down our table. If I want to search for coffee, it's the same as the stock frame. It narrows down the table, and also at the same function on the stock in the items. If I click here for fast navigation in coffee, it also shows the item, the details, the item code, item name, description, base price, stock, and retail price. The difference is in the stock and the items. The stock, the items has a very critical information in the on the system, like base price of the item and the retail price of the item. If this should be only in the manager's side that he can or she can edit in the base price or retail price. So for example, we want to change the description of coffee. So we want to put here Nescafe, and we press enter. As you can see, it changes in the description here in the table. Okay, how about if we want to add the stock? So if we want to add the stock, and if the item is already populated, and the text is already populated, it will prompt you the item is already in your database. So it removes the ambiguity in the table that you have multiple items of the same name and the same item code. So when you press OK, it clears all the populated text field. Now we want to put an item description, base price, stock, and retail price. So for example's sake, we want to add the item name example. How about for the item code? Why did not I not start for the item code? Because our system generates the item code automatically. So the user or the manager can already rest easy in the uniqueness of the item code. So if we want for the description, example for this frame, and the base price will be 1, the stock will be 1, and the retail price will be 1. And then if I press add, it will come here in the table. Example, in the table of the items. And as you can see, the total number of products is already added. Now, I want to remove this item from the table. Note that this table does not delete in the database, but rather it removes the item from the table itself. So if I want to remove this, I will just press X. And the example is now deleted. But it's not, like I said earlier, it's not deleted in the database, but it's only deleted from the table for user friendly and for the rules of managing the database. So let's finish here in the items frame. Okay, now let's see how expenses works. Finish in the items tab. Now let's proceed to the expenses. In the expenses, like I said earlier, you have to input the cashier have to input its expenses. The idea in the expenses is this is the expenses that is not generate profit. That means it's not items in the stock. That means the expenses is an outside expenses that will not circulate in the pool of the money. So let's say let's add an expenses. Let's say I have an expenses of renovation, and the price of the renovation is 800. So for this date, this is February 21, and I want to enter it. So as you can see, the ID is for renovation is 800. So it will ask you if there are any recibo or not. So in the renovation, for example, I have a recibo or an official receipt. I will check the box here, and if I want to delete, I will delete here, and the item is now deleted from expenses. As I explained earlier, there is no item deleted from the database itself, but rather removed from the table. Press OK. If I exit here, let's check on the sales report if it updated the expenses that we have pressed earlier entered in the expenses. So let's go to the sales, and if I fetch again, as you can see, the renovation here is present, and the gross income and net income is present. So, and is already updated. So that is all. And for the closing remarks, we have Alia Faye Doliantas.
So our system generally have been developed for business owners, for small business owners. At first, we just want to help our parents in managing their businesses, our family businesses. At first, we have developed this system for our family businesses, but we found so much potential in this system. So we've created a general system that could be used by other small business owners. We've designed our system so that it can be used by anyone regardless of age. For we figured that if a small store is gonna be is it is gonna be used by someone from the younger and older generation. Our system has so much more potential, but for now, this is our system. Pika, point of sales and inventory system. Thank you everyone for listening.